This conference will now be recorded.
By the
Colleen,
authority vested in me. Yes.
would you like me to, you want to get started? That's what I was going to ask.
Yes, I'm going to get started, okay? Everyone ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. By the authority vested in me, I hereby declare this meeting of the Conshohocken Borough Council duly open and ready to conduct any business that may come before it. Brittany, would you like to do roll call?
Sure. Councilmember Tutino.
Present.
Councilmember Griffin.
Here.
Councilmember Flanagan.
Present.
Councilmember Barton. Councilmember Stokely.
Here.
Vice President Sokolowski.
Here.
President Leonard. President Leonard.
Here.
Mayor
So
Aronson.
just to start our meeting, I would first like. Oh,
I'm ecstatic. Hello? Hello?
We got you, Ike.
we got you, Ike. Okay, Brent, Mayor Aronson is here. I can see him.
I am here. Yeah, well, I'm having trouble getting in again.
Okay, well, you can hear us at least.
Okay.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, good.
Okay. So under announcements for myself and council, I would just like to congratulate our borough manager, Stephanie Checo, and her husband, Joe, on the birth of her baby boy today, Giovanni Marcello Checo. So we're all very happy and excited for her and glad everything went well.
Yeah.
So moving
Yes.
on. Thank you for joining us for our regularly scheduled public work session via video conference and or conference call. At this time, I would like to ask all participants except for Borough Council, Mayor, Borough Manager, and Borough Solicitor to mute their audio lines. No public comment will be permitted during the course of the meeting until the designated public comment section located on the agenda. You will be notified during the meeting when public comments are permitted. You may also submit written comments via email to brogers@conshahockenpa.gov. A member of the Borough Administration during the public comment period will read public comments submitted in this manner. For all comments, please include your name and address for the record. It is of utmost importance that the public is given every available opportunity to participate in the meeting. However, if required, we will all mute all audio lines due to any inappropriate comments or behavior during the remote meeting. Borough Council and Administration, thank you in advance for your cooperation during the remote meeting. We hope that everyone in our community is staying safe and healthy. Council members, please remember to state your name for the record after making a motion or seconding a motion. The first item on the agenda this evening is land use matters, public hearings, and ordinances. The first one is a preliminary final minor subdivision and land development application for 331 West 7th Avenue. DBJ Properties is the applicant. Mr. Peters, if you would like to continue.
Thank you, President Leonard. Can everyone hear me okay? All good?
Yes.
This is an application for subdivision and land development. I did see that Mr. Brasso is on the phone. I'm not sure if he has anyone else on with him. What is proposed is a 3-lot subdivision. Lot 1 would contain a single-family detached dwelling, and then lots 2 and 3 would contain single-family semi-detached dwellings. Each lot would have a rear patio and a concrete pad in the back for 2 parking spaces. Based on the discussion at the Planning Commission, and I do note that the plan shown at the bottom of the screen shows it, there is a garage proposed in connection with the single-family detached dwelling. It's my understanding from the applicant's presentation at the Planning Commission that a garage is part of the desire within the single-family market. So he is proposing a garage. And then the 2 parking pads in the back for the twins, it's my that those pads would fit 2 cars each. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of the subdivision and land development application, subject to 2 conditions. The first is a deed restriction for the garage to be parking only, which we've been doing for several years now, and that the applicant negotiate a fee in lieu of open space pursuant to Section 804, which is a common condition and a common waiver that is granted. With that, President Leonard, I think we can turn it over to Mr. Brasso and his team, and then if council has any questions, we can go from there.
Okay, Mr. Brasso?
Yes, thank you. I was hoping to be joined by my engineer and perhaps even my attorney. I don't know. They were hold of the meeting.
Can anybody hear me?
Is that Joe?
This is Joe Estock. I'm on this call.
Oh, wonderful. Good. Thanks, Joe. Joe, do you want to take the lead?
Yeah, I do. I'm getting a lot of interference. Is that?
Yeah, there was a lot of interference.
It could be the storm.
I would start.
There's a storm coming.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. This is Joe Estock speaking. I agree with everything Mr. Peters said. What we did is we addressed all the comments of the professional engineer and the county planning commission and your other consultants, and we resubmitted recently revised plans to Conshohocken. We did make that modification where now we'll have parking spaces 2 per lot for the twin dwelling, and also an 18-foot 8-inch square garage for the single-family detached dwelling. So that was revised and was sent back. We do agree with that condition where it has to be restricted for parking only. Notation was added to the plan stating the same. Also, we submitted a letter requesting a couple waivers. Actually, I have to pull it out of my notes here, but the 2 waivers were we relocated the street trees a little bit into the right-of-way, so we need a waiver for that with the condition that we understand that the property owners will assume maintenance responsibility of those trees that are right-of-way. And the other waiver request is grading within 3 feet of the property line. That's all I have.
Thank you, Joe. With that, members of council, your professionals are on the call. Should you have any questions for them or for the applicant?
Hi, this is Anita. I'd like to know why the twins do not have a garage.
David Brosa, that's your question.
Sure. I guess it's just aesthetics and economics. We really didn't want to put a garage in until the township allowed us to build a bigger garage, and we were kind of hoping that that would have happened while we were going through the land development process. So ideally, what we really want to do is build a garage that was 20 feet wide so that it can adequately fit 2 cars, and that people would be more inclined to park in there. So that's just like, it hasn't taken place. So if it ever does pass, we'd be happy to go put a bigger garage in there. My whole thinking is that the twin houses don't necessarily warrant a garage to be marketable, but the single family in this case does. So we need a garage in the single family.
Yeah, I think you should need garages in the twins also. I mean, they're super marketable right now. And I don't understand why you can't put 1 car in the garage and 1 on the pad. Because that would be
Anita, I think what he's saying
coverage in the yard. What? Go ahead.
I think what he's saying is he's waiting for our zoning change. Isn't that correct, Mr. Peters, that we're working on?
That is correct.
The
So
ordinance change?
one of the things that is occurring as part of your ordinance change is an amendment to allow for a larger garage. Where the planning commission landed on this was the pads actually provide more room for parking than a by right garage. So in terms of getting cars off the street, it's actually preferable, frankly, to a zoning variance. So that's where the planning commission landed, and also President Leonard. Yes, we are working to fix the garage issue.
Yeah, but if you're, yeah.
Go ahead, Anita.
Yeah, to me, if you're putting in a bigger garage, doesn't that mean the twins are going to be wider in order to accommodate those garages?
No, I think the twins are actually as wide. It looks like, and Joe can correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like we're right there on the side yards and everything.
Yeah, no, now keep in mind that these are detached garages. They're not within the unit.
Sorry, I had to shut my window.
Right.
Yeah, these are detached garages.
So
they're not in the unit.
So it's my understanding in the future, when our ordinance is changed, you would be able to put the correct size garages there if they wanted them.
If they wanted them. Right. You're right, Colleen. So by that point, you know, we're going to do our best to get the ordinance passed as soon as possible. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a homeowner's preference as to whether or not they have garage. That's right.
So, Bob Stokely, so there won't be no parking in the back, right?
There is parking on parking pads in the back, Bob.
Oh, there is
there's
parking
pads.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they're located in the back and not at the front, as is the garage, Bob.
Right.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I'm talking about the twins. There's going to be parking pads in the back of the twins, right?
That's correct. Black top parking pads.
And if
two parking spaces per unit.
Right. And if I'm correct, Mr. Brasso, you're also paving the alley and making it wider. Is that correct?
Yes, just along our property. Not the entire alley.
Right.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay. Colleen, can I bring up the in lieu of?
Certainly, Anita.
Okay. Mike, is it doable instead of in lieu of ground or money, they would give us trees instead? We're looking to put trees in.
There are.
I suppose the answer is yes, although at the end of the day, it ends up, if you're putting in trees in a public park or something like that, it ends whether we get the trees or they get the trees. Is your thought that they may be able to get them cheaper than the borough, or because
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I defer to our crews that would be putting the trees in. If they prefer to get their own trees, they should. But that's a conversation we can have, Anita. Yes, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
It can be used.
And Ray, are you here?
Ray?
Is Ray on our meeting?
Hi, everybody. It's Bobby Joe. Ray is not on just yet. He is still checking the town for the damage done from the previous storm.
Okay.
Check.
Yes,
he
coming
can come to my house.
To clarify for Anita, Anita was talking about putting trees across the street in front of the Borough buildings that are there for a better landscape for the neighbors. But I believe that Ray is already in the process of planning something for that.
Okay.
For arborvitae's there. So Anita, I don't think that's going to end up being an issue.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
This gives us more discretion.
All right, I'm good.
To get cash.
Anyone else? Okay.
Well, I'm good with the plan.
President Leonard, with that, you will be voting on this application at your voting meeting in 2 weeks.
Correct. Thank you. So if no one has any more questions, we'll move on to the next item.
Okay, I'm good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So the next
You're welcome.
item is
Absolutely.
waiver of land development application for Conshohocken Station project. SEPTA is the applicant. Mr. Peters, again, I'm going to refer to you.
Thank you very much, President Leonard. This is an application that the core substance of it you are all very familiar with because we've been talking about it for some time. Nuance here is when you have either a governmental entity or you have a development that's occurring with relatively minor on the ground effect, you can put the applicant through what's known as a waiver of land development. So you have done these before when we have redevelopments of buildings, for example, conversions from commercial to residential. This application, it's the opinion of the borough's professionals that it similarly qualifies for going through a waiver process. You have before you review letters from the various professionals. You can see their remaining concerns. SEPTA is on the line. I know SEPTA did give and also I let Britt know that some of their members may, and by members I mean team members, may not be able to join the call. So if there are any technical questions that they need to come back to us with, we certainly can do that at your voting meeting. I know some people are having trouble with power, which isn't surprising. So with that, I will turn it over to Mike Gill, special counsel for SEPTA, who can walk through what's being proposed. And again, I know you are all familiar with it, but for the benefit of the public and also a refresher for you, Mike can run through what's being proposed.
Thank you very much, Mike. Members of council, my name is Michael Gill. I'm an attorney with the law firm Buckley Bryan in Westchester. We have the privilege of representing SEPTA on a number of matters, including this new Conshohocken station. I won't take up too much of your time. As Mr. Peters said, you are all very familiar with the application and obviously the location of the proposed new station. It's right adjacent to the existing station. We did just recently, earlier this week, submit a response letter to the various consultants' reviews that we had received, and we included with that a link to the revised plans and reports, and we will be supplementing that with hard copies of the plans in the immediate future. The upshot is that we have a new station proposed, and that will include a new station building, ADA accessible high-level platforms, stormwater improvements, and I think we're gonna scroll down to the site plan here. Thanks very much, Brittany. That will include a drop-off area and, as I pointed out, new parking spaces on the property to the on the other side of Oak Street from the existing station. It'll include an extension of Oak Street into the station itself. There are several substantive waivers that SEPTA is requesting in addition to the procedural waiver from the formal land development process. And those are all outlined in our submissions. Those have to do with parking stall width, the width of the sidewalk that SEPTA will construct, and the recreational land and the fee in lieu of recreational land. I'm happy to address any of those that the council might have a question about. There are also several variances that we're going to be seeking from the zoning hearing board, excuse me, sorry. And we're going to be supplementing our application to the zoning hearing board to include the variance requests as outlined in our resubmission letter. The driving force behind the trip to the zoning hearing board, however, is the fact that the property is within the floodplain district, and obviously that requires variance relief in order to do anything. But primarily in order to construct the new station itself. So as I said, I'm sure that everybody is familiar with this, and before everybody loses power here, I'll stop talking and answer any questions that members of council might have, so that you can move on to your other business.
What happened to the 4-level parking garage?
That's not proposed as part of this project. That may be a future project that will come down the pipe, but it's not part of what's proposed right now. Right now, the proposal is for the high-level platforms, the station house,
right,
and the new station itself.
Wow. And we're going to have bunches of people coming in here.
I have to agree with Anita. I'm not happy about losing the parking. That was part of the proposal.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was a promise made, but a promise not being kept by SEPTA.
Well, as I'm sure you can imagine, there are funding concerns that have to be taken into account. There are timing for how these projects get implemented, and I do not want to leave the impression that that is not going to happen. It's just not part of this proposed project right now.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gill, may I add something? This is Daniel Dwyer. I'm a lawyer for SEPTA.
Everybody, Dan Dwyer, who's in-house counsel at SEPTA.
With all due respect, I don't think this is a question of a promise not being kept. We are continuing to plan that project, and we are continuing to try to move forward with the acquisition of the property, but we haven't acquired it yet, so that's why it's not folded into this project at this time. But believe me, we are as eager to increase the parking there as you are.
Because the impact on our tough. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
At least that gives us clarification.
Right. That it's not being forgotten.
Yeah, as long as you're still trying.
Right.
Oh no, we are still trying, and we're eager to build that. We just can't fold it into this project until we acquire the property.
Okay, that's understood.
How many spaces are there total?
I'm sorry, I think
I'm sorry, excuse me. This is Karen. Yes, one quick question. If you were to summarize to this point what we're looking at for this phase, I understand that you're saying future parking will be folded in at some point, but what will we have now as part of this phase that you're speaking to?
So this phase is the movement of the focal point of the station to Oak Street, and the construction of the new station building on one side, and then the parking, the drop-off loop, and ADA compliant parking on the other side. You see on the other side of Oak Street, there are additional new parking spaces. So at the end of the day, you'll have some new parking associated with the relocated new station. As a project by others on the existing station property, there will be new parking constructed. That's going to be a separate application that'll be coming before you with regard to that property. But this project consists of the new station building, of the ADA compliant high level platforms, the drop-off loop, and that ADA parking, and the stormwater improvements.
How much parking is designated at this point?
There are 87 spaces as part of this project.
Okay.
87, I'm sorry, there are 87 at the end of the day with regard to this redevelopment, and then adjacent park, there will be 87 parking spaces.
So we're not losing the adjacent parking, that temporary parking lot that is serving that station currently, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Actually, sorry, I'm going to chime in. My name's Alicia Nardo. I'm the project manager, the architect on staff for SEPTA for this Conshohocken project. That 24 stall lot on the Nevy property, that is because it's Nevy property, that will become part of the development on Nevy property. So we are losing those 24 stalls, but we are gaining the 4 to the east of Oak Street and also the 5 additional handicap parking stalls to the west of Oak Street. The intention is to add more handicap parking because the new high-level platform is accessible. So we want to make more handicap stalls available to the passengers as well. But unfortunately, because that leased lot was not on our property to begin with, we are losing that parking count.
Can you tell me how many parking spaces we have today with that leased lot? And then how many parking spaces this new project would have? Is it an equal number?
I believe we're losing between 2 and 4 parking stalls.
Yeah, if you bear with me a second, I can give you that count. Let me just
Okay,
bring
that'd
up
be great. Thank you.
the document.
I would also like to know if you have a crossover on the tracks so that people don't have to walk all the way around like we do now. There is one at Spring Mill. And now that you're moving the station, is it feasible to put one in here also?
I'll take that question. We are putting pedestrian sidewalks on either side of Oak Street. Unfortunately, it's not available at this location to put another pedestrian walkway as outside of Oak Street. We cannot put a tunnel underneath because it is in a floodplain. We cannot put an overpass above because of the overhead catenary wires. At Spring Mill, we do have the pedestrian walkway at Spring Mill is platform to platform, but that's also a low level platform. This is a high level. So a pedestrian crossing at this location, not at a streetway, is not a feasible solution.
So that means our residents are still going to have to walk all the way around.
Yes.
With that.
Can you
Does
clarify
anyone else
why?
have?
Yeah. Can you just clarify why you can't do overhead walkway? Did you say that?
Why?
We cannot. SEPTA does not like to proceed to do overhead crossover because the trains are powered by an overhead catenary wires. So those catenary wires are live at all times.
Thank you.
See, before when I asked about this crossover, I was told it was because of the position that the train station is in now. So if we're moving it, I don't know. I just think it would be very beneficial.
Along the way, for some reason, I did think that was included, but I must be mistaken.
Oh.
I'm sorry, there's a lot of background noise there, but
yeah, you got it again.
all right.
Okay. I think if anyone has any more questions in the next week or so, we could reach out to Mr. Peters and
Absolutely.
he could get answers for us at this point. Is that agreeable with everyone, or does anyone have any more questions?
I'm good.
I actually did have a quick question, Alicia. It's Mike Peters. Did you say that there will or will not be a pedestrian crossing at Oak Street? I'm sorry, I think I missed what you said.
There will be pedestrian sidewalks on either side of Oak Street. So both to the east and to the west of Oak Street.
Okay. So what would stop a pedestrian from coming from town and using those?
Walking down the tracks.
I don't know if anybody can hear me. From the start of the grade crossing, where so on this plan that you can see in front of you, at the end of where the tactile is, where the pedestrian crossing is to the west of Oak Street.
Yep.
Starting where the tactile is, we'll be installing an estate fence from that tactile straight away to the start of the platform.
Okay, okay.
That will be on both sides of the track and also both sides of the crossing as well, to try to defer any pedestrian foot traffic along the track
Yeah.
lines.
You actually don't want it. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's my major concern is people walking the tracks, which we see all the time right now.
But isn't there Oak Street is going down and will be going into the Matson Mill development, right? So if there is a
For that side, correct.
Right.
Right.
So they would continue to have the same access on the one side over by the outbound station, and then on the other side at Oak Street. So it's still
it's at least better on that side. Yeah, you're right.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like we're kind of pushing people more to the other side than coming up under the bridge onto the stairs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else?
Okay, please let me know
I
if you
think
have
we're good,
anything.
Mr. Peters.
Very much.
So if anybody has any questions, then those will be relayed to Mr. Peters, and we can coordinate directly and have those answered for you either at or prior to your voting meeting. And in the meanwhile, we anticipate submitting that amendment to the application to the zoning hearing board, and along with the floodplain study, and then proceeding on to the zoning hearing board and ultimately bringing this project to fruition.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. The next item under manager matters is consider approving resolution 2020-14, approving an extension of the local disaster emergency. This extends the local disaster emergency already in place until July. So if council is inclined, this is one thing that we do need a motion on. I would ask for a motion to approve resolution 2020-14, approving extension of the local disaster emergency.
I'll make
Ms.
that.
Oskowski will make that motion.
Ike Griffin, I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The last item on our agenda this evening is council member and mayor matters. I am first going to turn this over to Tina Sokolowski for her council matters.
Yes, thank you, President Leonard. So yesterday there was a meeting with the Friends of Conshohocken fundraising group, and we haven't had a whole lot of motion with COVID-19. And one of the things that we have been working on is the t-shirt for one of our fundraising ideas that basically is an I Park in Conshohocken t-shirt. We've actually finalized the actual graphics for it, and we're ready to put our first order in. And what we were hoping is that we could get approval to spend no more than $550 for about 100 t-shirts, so that we can get them made and have them potentially ready for our Fun Fest. So we're ready to go with our first fundraising event, which would be selling the t-shirts. So we're asking council to approve no more than $550 for the purchase of 100 t-shirts. We have over $4,000 in the account at this point.
So we need a
Does
motion.
anyone have? Yes, we will need, if council is inclined, The motion is to approve a request of the Friends of Conshohocken Parks to utilize nonprofit funds for the purchase of T-shirts at a not to exceed cost of $550.
I would make that motion.
I'll second it.
That was Jane Flanagan motion and Anita Barton
Anita.
seconding. Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Mayor
Thank you.
Aronson, do you have anything this evening?
I do. Thank you, Colleen. So I first want to thank our police chief, George Metz, for his honest, truthful, and passionate words this week in regards to the murder of George Floyd. Chief, I know your words brought a lot of comfort to our borough. I also want residents to know that we will continue to offer our usual regular programming and outreach in our mission to build our community. And this will include a discussion among chiefs from around the area that we hope to organize in the next few weeks and months so we continue this really important discussion. And again, thank you, Chief, for your leadership on this really important matter. And then secondly, changing gears, I want to invite everyone to attend the virtual Conshohocken Arts Festival and Car Show this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. We're hosting 11 hours of live streaming music, live art classes, photography classes, a virtual car show, and more than 50 arts and crafts vendors. You can check out the website at ConshockenArtsFestival.com or on Facebook at Conshohocken Arts Festival. It should be a very different but a really fun day. We're really excited to put it on for the community. And that's it.
Thank you, Mayor Aronson. Sounds like a good time. Mr. Stokely?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Barton?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Sokol, we did Tina. Ms. Flanagan?
I just would like to thank our public works crew. They have outdone themselves today with the all of a sudden emergency with the weather and the trees. And again, they just go above and beyond whatever's expected of them. I so appreciate them. I know we all do. So thank you, Public Works.
Ditto.
No. Mr. Tino?
Yes, I'll just mention that this past Sunday, there was a very peaceful gathering in Sutcliffe Park. It was the beautiful experience. There were just songs and prayers, but it was very meaningful and productive.
Thank you. Mr. Griffin?
I don't have anything at this time.
Thank you. I would just like, I honestly would just like to thank our residents and all our businesses who have been so patient the last couple months through everything with COVID-19. Everyone has really stepped up and listened and for the most part done what was asked of them. And I just want everyone to know that it is noticed by us and we sincerely do appreciate it, as we appreciate our administration and our first responders, our police department. But a sincere thank you to the residents and the businesses in the area. So, okay. With that, I will say meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank
you.
Hang on, we have to do public comment.
Yeah, we need to still do public
goodness.
comment.
Thank you, Ms. Sokolowski. We do need to do public comment. Brittany?
Well, we didn't receive any submissions via email.
I must have EFT. Okay, none at all? We'll try it again.
None by email, right.
And we have no one in the audience, correct?
Okay, very good.
Meeting adjourned.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.